The Palace of Westminster is one of the world's most iconic buildings. It's part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is a Grade 1 listed building. It's a monument to Gothic architecture, and it's a symbol of British democracy. But our Parliament is crumbling.
The stone facade here is so weak, you can actually crumble it off in your hand.
We are on the verge of some catastrophic failure, and we've had some examples of blocks of stone falling down and smashing through cars. We've had the chamber closed with water gushing in from the leaking roofs. You know, I was in there recently in the House of Lords tea room, and a mouse jumped over my foot. You know, this is the sort of level that it's got to now. So doing nothing is no longer a choice.
There's been 66 fires in the building since 2008. It's only allowed to stay open because there's a team of fire wardens patrolling it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the work desperately needs doing, but it's been the fear of maybe a public backlash that has stopped politicians from doing so.
But it's not just Parliament's crumbling infrastructure that is in dire need of restoration and renewal. The physical space influences the way our politics and our democracy work.
It is not a friendly, people's, public's institution. It's an elitist, fairly secretive, often dark and dank, highly restricted structure. And that matters.
It's impossible to spend much time in the Palace of Westminster without being appalled at some of the conditions that people working there or visiting there face, particularly the disabled access, which is horrendous. It's just embarrassing.
Ellen Watson, a University of Sheffield student with progressive sight loss, worked in Parliament last year.
The one kind of stumbling block to being able to work on my merit, be fully independent, was the accessibility of the building. It's no secret that the Houses of Parliament are a complete maze to a sighted person. Add in sight loss and hearing loss as well, and it can be quite an overwhelming place to work.
So with a World Heritage Site at great risk of serious disaster and people being excluded from our home of democracy, why have politicians been so slow at making Parliament fit for the 21st century?
No government wants to spend billions of pounds on Parliament itself, and so the fear of how the public might react has been one major reason why work hasn't happened.
But as leaking pipes and crumbling masonry make the headlines, and after the devastating fire in Notre Dame in Paris this year, there is evidence that the public want to see Parliament protected.
How many of you are in favour of spending £7 billion on restoring the House of Parliament? That's a massive yes.
Everyone.
And how many of you aren't? One.
In 2018, MPs and peers decided that the best way to fix Parliament was to move everyone out while the work takes place. Since then, a public consultation has been launched about the plans for a new temporary House of Commons chamber that's to be built just around the corner from Parliament.
Nothing has to be permanent. You could try different seating positions, you could try a semicircle if you want, you could try flexible seating arrangements. You don't have to have the fixed one side facing the other adversarial politics that we're used to.
There's a really big political battle being fought about the layout of the chairs and the tables because people realise in Parliament that the layout and the structure, the space, matter to how politics is done.
For so long we've carried on with the same system because that's how we've always done things, but this is an opportunity to try out new things, and if things improve our politics, then why not keep them in the new Palace of Westminster?
Some people who currently control the system are quite happy with how it is at the moment and really don't want anything to change.
Rather than experimenting with plans that might help address some of the current issues in our political system, the government instead has launched a consultation that has proposed an exact replica at the House of Commons chamber with its confrontational setup. Academics at the University of Sheffield's Crick Centre have submitted evidence to various committees and are responding to the consultation, arguing that the public need a say in the future not only of their parliament, but their democracy. There needs to be a meaningful discussion about the Palace of Westminster itself, and not just the temporary House of Commons chamber.
The House of Commons belongs to the nation rather than just the politicians who are in it at the moment, and so the nation should be discussing what they want from their politics and from their parliament.
With the government about to spend billions of pounds of public money on a public building, it's crucial that politicians listen to people from all walks of life about what restoration and renewal should mean.
I want the experience of people with disabilities or impairment to be the exact same experience experience as able-bodied people, so they get to experience the kind of like joy and awe of being in such a fantastic building and not having to take the back alleyways to get there.
With public trust in politicians and political institutions at one of its lowest points, the Restoration and Renewal program is a chance to design for democracy. It's an opportunity for a meaningful public discussion about our politics that includes everyone. If you want to learn more about our research on the Restoration and Renewal program, click on the link in the description below.